Welcome to People First Builders, celebrating leaders in construction who build success through their people. My name is Fletcher Wimbush, your host. I'm the CEO of Discover.ai, a performance hiring software helping small and mid-sized AEC companies solve their hardest problem, people. We help people first leaders install and execute repeatable talent acquisition systems that drive business results by hiring top performers, lowering turnover, and building world-class company cultures. Stick around to the end and you can learn more about how to become a guest on our podcast and share your story with the world. Welcome to the People First Builders podcast. My name is Fletcher Wimbush. I'm your host. Today, I have Scott Walters here with me. I'm really excited to chat with you because you are in a unique business, to say the least, probably. And I love your kind of intro here. So to your portable toilets, I'm assuming porta potties, roll-off dumpsters, septic services, commercial industrial waste hauling, luxury restroom trailers. So not the sexiest world here, but your
come on, what are you talking about?
Your whole core focus is we love people. So I love that is your kind of theme song, I guess, and tell me more about that, tell me a little bit more about how you got into this business, I guess, and how you came to this like theme of like, we love people and, maybe, less than sexy business.
Well, yeah, it does seem pretty crazy. And I have to explain it pretty often when people start talking to me about the business. So my parents started this business 52 years ago. And we were living on a little chicken farm outside Hershey, Pennsylvania. They were making $48 a week, trying to raise 3 little kids. And it just wasn't enough money. So they started looking around for different businesses. My dad ended up talking to a local provider who had a septic business for sale. And he went and talked to the guy who said, come on back next week. We're gonna sign the paperwork, get this thing sold. So he goes back next week and the guy says, I sold it to somebody else.
Oh.
So, this happens. So my dad's driving home and he's thinking, I know about this business. I think I could get this going myself. So he gets home to my mom. They were excited about this opportunity. He has to tell her the bad news. And then he says, Bev, I think that I can start this business. And what do you think she said, Fletcher? She said, no.
Yeah.
She said, no. If you think you can do it, we can do it. And what a great way to start a business, so they were very much in it together. And that's one of our core values here at Walters is being team centered.
Yeah.
And so they started this little septic business and it grew. And I mean, great stories. They provided labor and help there at 3 Mile Island. When that whole incident happened, my dad was right there. He used to come home and measure the radiation in front of our color TV and tell us, hey, it's a lot more here than it is at 3 Mile Island. You're okay. That's how he sold it to me, little kids.
sold it to you. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, bro, And, the business just started growing. My brother came out of college, wanted to be part of the business. And that's really when it probably started to grow more. There were probably like 3 or 4 trucks involved in the septic business at that time. They started this part of the business then, the portable toilet business. And my dad did it only as an advertising tool. So, they sit out and they have your business name on it. And he thought that would be a great way to promote the business.
Well, that's true. I mean, everywhere you go, any event and whatever, wherever you see a portable toilet, there's the name right on there. You don't forget it, right?
No. And so it was a good idea on his part, but he didn't anticipate that it was going to grow. And it started growing. So I was in graduate school at the time, and he asked me if I could come and help him with the business. And I said, I'll come for a year or 2 and help you. And I was actually in seminary, and I wanted to be a missionary.
Oh, wow.
And so I got there to the business, and it was so much fun, and it was really taking off. And then my wife said, I don't want to be a missionary. Okay.
Sold.
That kind of changes your plan, Fletcher.
Yeah.
So I was looking for what do I do? And I loved business. I loved this, the activity here. I loved all the vendors and the people that we were meeting and bringing on people into a business and helping them do better as a family and really all the things that you love to see happen in a business. I bought into that 1,000%. And so I was a third person that came on here, and now there are over 100. And, we've just seen, it's not a huge business, but we've seen really nice growth. And that's what I buy into every day, Fletcher, is the ability that you have as a business owner to help people in their everyday life. And that's why We Love People is the focus of our business. It always was. So my parents started it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, we were poor folks and they had been helped a lot in their lives. And so it was just a continuation through this tool, which is the business to help people. And we're not a nonprofit, we're a for profit with us, but We Love People is the foundation of what we do. And it informs our core values and everything that we're about here every day.
Yeah. Well, and I always ask like audiences, when I speak to larger groups, I'm like, what business are you in? And, some people will be like, I'm in the accounting business, I'm in the construction business, I'm in the whatever business. And then eventually somebody will stand up and be like, I'm in the people business. And I'm like, that's the right answer, right? Like, I don't care what business you're in, you're ultimately in the people business. And if you think about it that way, it doesn't matter what service you're providing, how sexy or not sexy it might be.
Yeah.
That's the best part of life, right? I mean, we all like to, to make other people happy, interact with people, share stories,
Yeah.
experience life together, right? And those are the things that bring satisfaction ultimately to us. So it doesn't really matter what we do. Obviously, we got to solve a problem for work to get paid, but again, we're doing that together with other people, and that's what matters most. So how do you convince people to come work for you to do this job?
Well, like you said, it's not very sexy. I think I made a big mistake because when I was in college, I became a Christian when I was in college, and I prayed to God and said, "Help me to be humble."
Well, I guess this
How's
will do
that?
it to you. Yeah.
So he answered my prayer, Fletcher. But yeah, so for people to come here, it really is different. A lot of people that come to our business, um, something went wrong in life, right? Maybe their plans didn't work out, or maybe they experienced a setback somewhere. Sometimes they're second chance folks coming out of prison or something like that. I mean, there are a lot of people that come here because we really try to offer really good pay, great benefits, take good care of people. So there is that aspect of it too. But so that's a part of what I find value in, because we get to help people in those situations. What draws people here, though, very interestingly, is our core values. So we advertise for a job. A lot of it we go through Indeed. We do other things, but Indeed is a main tool that we're using right now. And we'll have an open driver position. We'll get 200 applicants.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
that's very uncommon. I mean, I'll talk to people that can't get anybody to apply for months.
Yeah.
And, when people come here and they do interviews, invariably they say, I read your core values. That's the first thing I saw, and I loved them. And I wanted to come and see what this was all about. I just talked to a guy who's going to be a general manager in one of our locations. And he was former military. He said, man, I looked at this. I gave it to my wife and said, what is this? And she said, that's a military mission statement, And so, the people really buy into what we're trying to do here. And that is more than just about business. It's about, like you said, the people and helping everyone go forward in life and learn and grow and do great things, because we all have that potential. And so I love to see that happen. And
So what are the core values that, you think, I mean, that you're saying that you're getting a lot of interest in a job that on the surface, many people might be adverse to, right?
Yeah.
So what are these core values that are getting people excited?
Yeah, no, I mean, so it's just, they're simple. They have to be simple and basic, right? First of all, we love people. What the heck is that all about? So they're thinking, what does this mean at a business that somebody's going to say that's the most basic thing? That draws people's interest right away. But then you start talking about basic things, being honest in word and deed. And we're gonna own our mistakes and make them right for people. That's uncommon. Being team centered, customer focused. One of ours is pursuing greatness with humility, and another one is being wholesome. So it's just a general good atmosphere here that's positive and encouraging. We're looking out for people physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally on all levels. That's what we're trying to focus on with folks. So when you start to read those kind of things, it creates a picture in your mind of what we're trying to do here. I will say very upfront, we do it very imperfectly, Fletcher. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. We all do. So don't
we do it
worry.
very imperfectly.
Yeah.
And I always preface that because some people can think they're coming to heaven. You know, that's
Mm.
not where you're coming to. You're coming to where Scott's in charge, so it's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
But this is the direction we're going. This is what we expect of one another, and this is what you're going to get 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Scott's going to mess it up, and I'm going to apologize to you when I mess it up too. But
Yeah.
we're all headed that way together,
Yeah.
and that's very
Well, and when,
attractive to
and when
people.
you're stating those things, then, other people hold you accountable. This happens to me in my organization. Sometimes one of my people will be like, "Hey, I don't know if that fits our core values." And,
Yeah.
I thank them. Like, I'm like, okay, you got me,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That happens at times, right? We stray and we need to, it helps for accountability so that's amazing. So I want to the kind of the second chance. I mean, you really nailed this. I mean, and this is true, I think, pretty collectively in the construction space. A lot of trades, a lot of laborers, a lot of dirty jobs, a lot of
Mhm.
undesirable work that, I think collectively the industry has done a decent job of elevating compensation and making sure people are well compensated. So cash is king and important. Like we need enough money to be able to live a healthy, productive life. And all the other things you said, which are actually absolutely really crucial, those kind of how do you help the person develop as a person? Are you supporting their individual growth and professional growth? But um, the kind of the people who end up working in these environments often this might be the best job they can get, right?
Yeah.
And then second chance, and that's a very controversial topic in many places, right? Um, People have on their applications, have you been incarcerated and have you been convicted of a felony or whatever it is? And that's a deal breaker in many
Yes.
places. In some places, they've sort of outlawed that or they put a lot of restriction around it, but in many others, it's still like, no, you're out, right?
Yes.
So how do you navigate that though? I mean, these individuals, uh, I would imagine that are working for you that are successful, they've found a way to become productive members of society. How do you differentiate the ones that are still going down the wrong path versus the ones that are,
Mhm.
actually have an opportunity to embrace these values?
Yeah. Um, it really is. It's nuanced, right? Like you were saying, this isn't black and white where, if you're going to do that, then it's probably a no. And we go into environments where we have to be careful. Like we serve a lot of schools, we serve a lot of different government establishments, all kinds of different places where people are who could be harmed if someone wasn't a good person. And so we have to be careful about that too. That's on us because we take that seriously. We don't want to impact any environment that we're in negatively. And so what I've done and what our HR department here does is really listen for the story. Okay, as we're talking to someone who is made maybe some wrong choices, something went sideways for them. What is that pivot point?
Yeah.
Generally, that's when I start to feel a lot better about the situation when they can tell me a lesson they've learned. Hey, I was in this situation, but this happened, and now I look at life differently. Whatever that might be. Sometimes it's a child being born. A lot of times you hear that,
Mm.
or maybe they got married, or maybe whatever it is, Fletcher. That's typically what we're listening for. Because when you hear that, there may not even be a lot of time. You like to see a little time in there, right?
Yeah.
But as long as there's a little bit of time to make some kind of assessment of, okay, I see this isn't just this week, but it's something that this person's actually changed the way they're going to pattern their behaviors imperfectly, and we try to help them here. And we even have a little bit of a rough framework here to help them a little bit. We have some people here in leadership who had done some things in the past, and they've learned their lessons, and there's years behind that, and so they can really help people navigate the experience coming from that kind of environment to outside life. It's a
Yeah.
big change for people.
Yeah. I would think most of us as human beings have hit rock bottom in some way or another, right? There's some pivot point in our lives, something that happened, whether externally or internally, created, and then we've had to change our behaviors, our mindsets.
Yeah.
And, that, of course, then again, are you sustaining it? You're not just giving it lip service, but you're actually demonstrating. And I think that's a key thing, that when, regardless of what you're interviewing or evaluating somebody for, the people who can go into great detail about how they, A, the pivot, but B, like the mindset shift, but B, the actions and the behaviors, and
Mhm.
can speak to those in great detail,
Yeah.
that demonstrates that they really own it. They're really down a path there. And people who sort of gloss over things or generalize things, and
Right.
sort of are shifty or dodgy in those, when you try to dive deep into those, really sensitive issues, obviously there's something they're withholding, and that's generally a challenge.
Yeah.
Um, we do a lot of stuff with integrity. That's our
Mm.
kind of focal point in our business, is hiring
Yeah.
people for integrity. And it's interesting, I always use this analogy for people. So the bank robber steals $1 million, and a week later he turns himself in. Is he honest or dishonest? Pop
Very
quiz.
interesting.
What do you
Yeah.
think it is?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great question, right?
Yeah.
Because it can be either.
Yeah, it's easy to say no, he was dishonest. Obviously, the action was not great. It was not ethical. It was, very poor decision. It would might have been rooted in bad ethics or integrity, right?
Right.
But the fact that somebody has the ability to say, you know what, I did wrong, and to
Yeah.
own that and to face their consequences,
Huge.
that is actually what honesty is, and the ability to be honest or have integrity, right? We're all human beings, as you've said this, and so you're highlighting this point, right? We go forward imperfectly, and
Yeah.
and it's your ability to own the consequences of your decisions, whatever those might be. Like, I now need to go to jail for 10 years because I
Yeah.
stole $1 million from a bank. Like that,
Yeah.
that's a brave, bold thing to do if you own up to something like that, where it has a major consequence to
Right.
you individually, right? And the challenge with people who don't, right, is they keep propagating the lie, and that's becomes a very slippery, dangerous slope. And how do we avoid having those people in our ecosystem, right? I think is the key.
You won't be able to go forward. And so, even the way, so one of our core values also is being empathetic, which of course is listening, hearing a person walking in their shoes. But for us, that also means that we're going to have hard conversations and we're going to confront the truth with each other.
Mhm.
So we're not here to just allow someone to stay in a bad situation. Oh, I understand you. Oh, that's hard. Oh, that's terrible. But also saying, okay, so, but how can we help you and how can we each go forward? We don't want to stay in bad situations. And I think that's really the focus here because just like you said, we've all experienced badness in our lives. We've all done stupid things or had stupid things done to us. And so part of that is, hey, how do we move forward out of this? How do we grow? How do we become better? And that's really the story of this business. It really is just continuing to grow and learn. And as a team, and as individuals keep going forward. And I just really love that. That's what keeps me here. That's what makes me love this business so much. And the team here is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. Um, so you said really telling a good story in your advertisements. People flock to that. They
Yeah.
recognize it. They see it. You did it. You made a great point. You talked to others who were like, they run an ad for maybe a similar position, and they
Yeah.
get crickets around that. So how you tell your story
Mm.
makes a big difference in terms of whether or not somebody's going to apply to your job. And this is so true across all of the trades. We see this time and time again. It's just messaging in there, and where you're at, being in the right places, not being cheap with your ad spend. I mean, it's not very expensive, right? Nonetheless, to throw that behind there. Those are things we
Yeah.
see. And then having a good system, interviewing for those core values.
Hmm.
Those are
Yeah.
absolutely crucial. That gives everybody kind of that guiding light, the North Star. Now, once you've onboarded somebody, and maybe you can touch on this a little more, but you mentioned you've had people in leadership that have mentored others. I mean, beyond that, and that's another key piece. And for anybody who's read First Break All the Rules, Gallup,
Yeah.
kind of sponsored the writing of that book. I read that book early in my leadership career. They said you got to have sort of a friend at work, right? Is an important component to people feeling satisfied. But so I love the mentorship piece, and that's probably particularly relevant in your sector here, your world. That personal mentor. What other kinds of things are you doing to onboard, assimilate these folks that may or may not, fit the value system? I mean, you made a good decision, but I'm sure it doesn't always work out that way.
Oh, I know, right? We would love for it to work out a lot better. I think the mentorship is really important. So we pair them with someone, they're responsible for that person, and they actually get rewarded financially when that person lasts here at
Wow.
Walters too. So
Okay.
there's a real investment or buy-in for them to really want this person to succeed on a for personal reasons. Also, of course, we're choosing people that care about people and want to see them succeed also. And they're a team. So you get a good team member, you're doing better. So that's really, I think, super, super important. I mean, when they're signing up with us, one of the first things they do is sign the core values pledge. So we have all our core values. We're going to live by these. Okay. So then we're constantly going over those things, Fletcher. Every week we send out a core values video. What does this mean practically? Also, every Monday we do what we call a superhero award. And so anybody in the company can nominate anybody else here in the company. It comes into me. So you get all these nominations and they say what the person did and what the core value is that displayed. And so all the time we're talking about these core values. So people are growing in it and really finding out in the first little while, is this really the place I want to be? And I think that's super important, because once you realize that this is a place you want to be and you love it here and it really fits you, then you're going to make the changes that you need to in other places. You're going to grow, you're going to learn. This is not a super complex business. It's not rocket science. It's really just caring, showing up, being dependable. And so, we track all those things and give feedback on all those things. Normal onboarding procedures for us, we don't do anything super incredible that I can share with you. I wish I had something, but it's really just, doing about a month long onboarding where you're learning, you're driving with someone, you're learning how to do the job, and then slowly they're turning over duties to you until they can check off that you know everything that you need to know. And of course, you go through the whole company learning all the different parts, and people have to sign off.
All the more technical stuff. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
bad part, but
So
but I like
I wish I had
the
something great
mentor
for you.
part. So you actually are pairing somebody. I would assume, like you said, with somebody who you think really embodies the values of the business. Those people get the opportunity to nurture and mentor new people, but you're going above and beyond there, and you're actually compensating. You're saying, hey, we hired Fletcher, and you're going to get paired with John, and John's going to get a bonus if I make it a certain period of time, for putting up with me. Yeah.
Well, for answering the questions and really helping you, because everyone, when you come to a new job, it's scary for everybody.
Yeah.
And so to have somebody in your corner and that person's there for you is really super important. And we found that that's very helpful. So, it's a system that we just like. And even from just a numbers perspective, if you can keep somebody there and they fit in, the little bit of money that we shell out is way less than it would cost for us to replace somebody.
Well, I'm sure the mentors are also maybe a little bit flattered or honored that they're been recognized as somebody that is worthy of doing this job too, I imagine.
Well, we're constantly looking for ways to help people grow. And so this is one way. This is like a first step in a growth process. And also, what I was very frustrated when I came here, because like I said, I was a third person. As we grew to 10, 12 people, as good people would come here to Walters, they didn't have a home here, because if they wanted to do anything great, where were they going to go? And so one of the main reasons I wanted to grow the business out. So we're across 4 or 5 states now. We have 5 different locations. And so people can progress up a ladder here if they want to, or do different things, or move different places, try different, segments in our business. And so that was really important to me. So that's like a first step. Then you can go to a working foreman, then you can go to a general manager, and then you can move into executive team levels. So, that's the first step in them taking a step forward here at Walters. And I think that people value that, like you say, and all of us want to get better.
Yeah.
And so this is a way that you can do that.
Yeah. Well, you guys are really embodying the power of personal and professional growth, and I love the mentorship mentality there. That's a unique thing that I think that many people in the trades and blue collar environments could probably do better on. I mean, how many times one like the young people that get into the trade, sometimes, you go to this like good old boys like work site and you're sort of like get maybe hazed as opposed to, welcomed and supported. Right. And, nobody really loves to be hazed. I mean,
No.
that just, but that, it happens. I mean, I've been through a little bit of hazing. I mean, I played football and, college, I was in a fraternity. I mean, I've been through lots of organizations with good old boy mentalities, right?
Yeah.
I've worked on job sites and, yeah, I mean, luckily the guy who was my mentor on a job site, he probably hazed me a little bit, but he was also supportive too, right?
Cool.
So in his own way. So, yeah, I could see that, being really, really valuable and you're a great kind of, example that you set for folks. So Scott,
Fletcher, one of the things that really helped us move forward, though, and I think it goes down this line that you're going down, is with people first, culture, all these things that are so important for us. I was a wreck. We got to like 50, 60 people. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not going to lie to you. I just plain didn't know what I was doing. I was just getting it done out of sheer energy. And I realized that I needed to learn to be a leader. And I got an executive coach. And one of the first things that really helped me and really drove this structural change for us that is so great was, I'm sure you've heard of it before, but Entrepreneurial Operating System, EOS, is just such a great structure. And, I've seen it because I network a lot in the construction industry. It seems like a lot of construction companies are going to EOS because I think it fits the construction industry very well to drive the change that they want, the focus on where they want to go. So I just wanted to throw that out there while I was here with you because I found it so valuable and I've seen it in the construction businesses that I've dealt with. The ones that really feel like they have their A game on and they're really doing great things. A lot of them, ironically, are EOS companies.
Yeah. Yeah, they're following a framework, and EOS is a big one, and there's some other ones out there as well. Yeah. But they're following a system and a framework. And all of the systems that are out there, they are pretty similar, frankly, from what I've seen. And but EOS is a super popular one, and it's a very simple system to begin to implement and execute. And so and then obviously you can evolve in a system like that as well. So no, it's great to point out for folks. Well, Scott, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Oh yeah, I mean they can hit me up on LinkedIn. That's where a lot of people do. And hey, if you want to, if you connect with me, I'll go to breakfast or whatever. I was just out of breakfast this morning with someone, and I've met a lot of great people that way. So please do that and tell me you want to go eat. We'll connect and we'll get to know each other.
All right, all you cost is a stack of pancakes and
let's go do it.
Let's go do it. Awesome. Well, we'll make sure that all that's in the show notes. Right. And Scott, thank you for your time and sharing your story today.
Thank you for your time. This is great. Have a good day.
Thank you so much for listening to our People First Builders podcast. If you're a successful construction CEO and would like to tell your story on this program, please visit our podcast homepage, FletcherWimbush.com/peoplefirstbuilders, or check it out in the notes below. If you got something out of this interview and would like to share the episode on socials, we always appreciate that. Just take a quick screenshot with your phone, text it to a friend, or post it to the socials. If you know someone who might be a great guest, tag them on social and let them know. And don't forget, #PeopleFirstBuilders. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We're regularly putting out new content. To make sure that you don't miss out on any episodes, go ahead and hit subscribe on your favorite podcast channel. Your thumbs up and ratings and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our website, FletcherWimbush.com, or follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.